Alignment in Instructional Planning and Assessment by Rebecca Hannon. In education today, assessments are a large factor, and there are many influences in the creation of these assessments. As a teacher, I feel a lot of responsibility falls on me to guarantee that my students are prepared for summative assessments that they will encounter at the end of the year. It is of extreme importance to me that I create lessons and design learning goals that are aligned to state standards and that these summative assessment objectives are met. For this portfolio, I wanted to highlight the importance of alignment. In Task 1, an example of a selected response test was chosen to demonstrate the use of an alignment planning chart. The use of this alignment planning chart allowed me to match my selected response questions with state standards. I also utilized Bloom's taxonomy to maintain a level of rigor that was expressed within each standard and indicator. The questions posed to students in this selected response assessment were written in standard writing conventions and included charts and maps that students needed to interpret. Data from this assessment was gathered and helped me assess my teaching and see mastery levels for each of my learning goals. In Task 2, I examined a research study that compared teaching practices of two high school teachers in two different states. Both teachers taught the same content and same grade level. However, their teaching practices varied greatly. The teacher that faced an end-of-course examination generally had activities designed that were much more teacher-led and data-driven, while the other teacher had time to allow for more student projects and student interaction. I can see fault with both methods, and this is where the importance of an alignment planning chart can come into play. Teachers must maximize classroom times, especially in the face of end-of-the-course examinations. In order to teach all the standards, the creation of an alignment planning chart must be done. This allows teachers to stay on task and focus on the important concepts for the course. For Task 3, an analysis of peer comments on personal assessment experiences was examined. Two quotes from my classmates really stood out to me. 1. I have realized that we sometimes give assessments as teachers to fill in the grade book. I believe that students, at the age I teach, do not respond well to standardized assessments. When I was a student myself, I would study and memorize so that I was able to pass a test, rather than actually learning the material. I want to make sure that when creating assessments for my students, it is relevant and meaningful to their learning. The second quote, serving as an AP reader really reinforced the importance of alignment between curriculum objectives and assessment items, as well as the need for specificity in both the assessment item and the rubric. I also learned the importance of targeted, specific formative assessment and focused feedback for my students in preparation for the AP exam. After reading these quotes, I reflected on my own experience and began thinking of my students. I found myself thinking about how alignment is a way of making connections between learning objectives and learning activities and assessments. Specifying clear and explicit goals while creating engaging and valid assessments will help my students be most successful. In conclusion, alignment allows for the blending together of learning goals, lesson activities, and assessments. Unfortunately, teachers sometimes create wonderful lesson plans, but they do not relate to the learning curriculum. And as a teacher, it is important to recognize that students will learn what is most taught in class. This portfolio attempts to stress why alignment is so important and showcase the significance and the benefits of alignment of learning goals, instruction, and assessment.